Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Okay, depending on whenever it is you're watching this. Anytime is cool. Anytime is cool. So now most of you have always those of us that have don't know how to reach me via email or maybe on WhatsApp, right? I'm sure you guys have reached me asking when I'm going to be doing my next project. Well, this is an answer to your questions. Okay, so basically, I'm going to be doing this project for a food app business, right? So it just I'm giving them insights on what they should do, right? We are not concerned about the app itself. We're only concerned about the data in the app. Well, but I still wish I could take this burger home though. But anyway, that's not the point here. The point is how we are going to analyze the data in the business. Okay, we're going to be using Google Sheet or Excel, depending on the one that's good for you. We're also going to be using SQL, and also we're going to be using Tableau for our visualizations. Okay. So introduction to the project, basically, as a data analyst, right, you've been invited to work with the business in general, right, to provide insight for potential business growth. And basically, they're looking at customer engagement and also maybe what products, right, they should focus more on. Are people buying? What product are people buying? And how they can engage more customers to buy that particular product, right? So we want to add value to the company and also insights on how to improve the app's user experience, right? So the data was actually sourced from the company. Okay, data was sourced from the company. It's like an internal data. So, but before we're able to use this data, we have to clean and pre-process this data. For the purpose of cleaning, we're going to be using two different tools. You can choose to use any one you like, but I just want to show you guys how we can do it both ways. Okay, so we're going to be using Google Sheets and SQL for our data cleaning. And for the exploration, we're going to be using SQL for sure. But for data cleaning, we are going to be using Google Sheets and SQL. We're going to be doing both methods so you guys can know how to do cleaning on this data set using both methods. Okay, so first things first, we're going to be starting with cleaning using spreadsheets. Okay, so I'm going to go over to the data. This data set is going to be provided to you guys in the video description. So you can always come to this place and visit the entire data. Okay, so you can come here, visit the data, and go ahead with it. All right, so first things first, I'm going to just explain most of these columns we have here. Okay, I'm going to try and enlarge the columns. Awesome. So from what we can see here, we have monthly income, right? Monthly income is just the income, how much do this customer earn monthly. Sometimes this data is collected by company to know the kind of deals they should be giving to these particular customers, maybe the kind of deals or the recommendations based on their income, right? And it's impossible to go through this entire income list. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an income group, right? Looking at the least income and the highest income, then we can use that to specify the kind of income group we're going to be doing, okay? Then active since days, definitely this is a lot of days, right? We cannot work with this, it's a lot of days. So what we're going to do is we're going to shorten these into years, right? We're going to shorten this into years by basically dividing this by 365, give us the number of years this customer has been active, right? Then we're also going to be looking at the age, just like the income. We cannot go all the way down to analyze it. So we're going to create buckets, which is age groups, right? We're going to look at the least age and the highest age so we can know the kind of age groups we're creating. Then we're going to be looking at, for these graduates, married and single, 1 is the same as yes, 0 is the same as no. So we're going to convert these nominal values into categorical variables, right? For those of us that know, these data terms, we're going to convert this into categorical variables, into yes and no's. We're going to do that for graduates. We're going to do that for married. Then if you look at single, we're likely going to drop this column called single, right? We're going to drop this column because if you look at married and single, 0011, which means wherever it is 0 here, it is 1 here. Wherever it is 1 here, it is 0 here, which means we can use this married column to find out the people that are married, the number of people that are married, and the number of people that are single. Okay, so there's no need having this column single here. Then we have number of children, number of teenagers, number of days since last purchase. Just like active since days, you can't keep scrolling down and find out, we want to change this into weeks. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 1 month, over a month ago, that kind of stuff. So we're going to be dividing this, right? We're going to be converting this into weeks, whereby using if statements. If it's between 0 and 8, let it be 1 week. If it's between 0 and 7, let it be 1 week. 8 and 15, 2 weeks, and so on and so forth, right? So we have amount spent on wines, fruits, meat, fish, sweet, gold, and so on. Then we also have number of deals with discounts, right? We're going to find out how this affects the amount people spend or their buying power. How does the number of discounts they give them, does it affect how they buy? That's one thing we're going to be finding out. Then also we're going to be looking at number of web purchase, number of purchases, right? We're also going to be looking at this purchase and first campaign. These are in 0 and 1s, which is either no, yes, and no. Okay, 1 is for yes, 0 is for no, right? Also for customer complaint, 1 is for yes, 0 is for no. Then this one just tells us the number of campaigns that the customer has accepted since joining the company. So sometimes people buy when they just go into the store. Sometimes people buy from social media campaigns that you run, maybe through Instagram or wherever it is, right? So now we are going to go into cleaning proper, all right? So when we look at the monthly income, we'll find out that, so we just want to look at the lowest income and then the highest income. But from what we can see here, the lowest income is between 1,000 and something, and the highest income is close to 20,000. So what we can see here is lowest income is 1,730. Highest income is 1,113. All right, so we're going to create buckets. Okay, saying when you're between this particular income, be in low income group. When you're in a particular income, be in medium income group. When you're in a particular income, be in high income group. All right, so we're going to use buckets for 0 to 40, 0 to 40, 41 to 80, then 80 to 81 to 120. So I'm going to create a new column. I'm going to call this, okay. I'm just going to wait for this to save. All right, so we are just going to use income group here. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is definitely for the income group, we are going to be using the if statements to create buckets. Okay, we're going to be using the if statement to create buckets, which is we're going to say if this particular cell, if the monthly income is less than 41,000, let it be kept as low income. Okay, Why, if the monthly income is less than 81,000, let it be put as middle income. Okay, and then if it's not less than 41,000, neither is it less than 81,000, let it be specified as high income. Or we can just say, let's put it as low earner. So I think it makes sense that way. Earner, so this one is also earner. So then I'll close this and we're going to go. So here we're going to be having, here should be middle income, middle earner. Right, then I'll just double click on that point we have there, and it will go all the way down. So I'm just going to wait for that to awesome. So now we have this stuff here. We can see middle earner, low earner, and so on and so forth. Right. So now we've done our buckets, which is called income groups for monthly income. Then next thing we want to do is we want to convert active since date. We want to convert it to years. So this should be active since years. Then this is just simple mathematics here. We're going to be doing in this particular one. So this is days divided by 365. Right, so then what we can just do is we can take this into a fewer decimal points, or I think I'll just format this to be okay, there's no number rounded here. Okay, so I can keep reducing it till it goes to, I just want it to be a whole number. So awesome, I'm good to go. Then I will double click so it goes all the way down, effects for the entire cell. So we've changed this particular stop to years, okay? So now we can see 867, 8675, 8675, and so on and so forth. Then we want to also create buckets for our age, which is we want to do for age groups, okay? And for our age groups, we're going to be using, the lowest age is 24, the highest age is 80. So we're going to be doing 3 age groups, which are adults, definitely someone that's 24 is an adult, yeah. So adults, middle-aged, and elderly. So I'm just going to call this one age group, right? Then this is just going to be the same if statement we used for the income group. So this is if age is less than 41, right? We want that person to be, okay, we want that person to be adult. Okay. Then if the age of the person is less than, let's say 41, okay, if the age of the person is less than 61, we want that person to be middle-aged. Okay, then if the age of the person is, okay, no need for any other if statements again. Then if it's not less than 41, if it's not less than 61, definitely the person should be elderly. Okay, so that just saves us time. So click on enter And we have, definitely this is elderly because it's more than 61. We have this 66 should also be elderly. Then 55 should also be, 55 should be middle-aged. 36 should be an adult, right? So I'll just effect this to all the cells. Okay, I'm going to, good. So what we can see here is 55 middle-aged, 36 adult, and so on and so forth, right? So for this graduate, remember I said we're going to change this 1 to yes, 0 to no. So I will just, we're going to be doing the same thing for graduate, married, purchased on first, second, third, fourth, or fifth campaign, changing the 1 to yes. Then for the single, we're going to drop it because we already have the marriage column, right? So assuming we're doing machine learning, this is going to be a clash of columns, right? There will be like, the relationship between these two should be maybe close to 1, right? If not 1, should be close to 1. So we need to drop it, right? So we're going to open a new column. So we're just inside the column to the right. Then this should be graduated. We just want to name it differently. Then we're going to be using switch, right? For those of us in my academy, I think you must have come around switch a lot because we use it a lot. So this will be switch, right? What are we trying to switch? We want to switch this cell, and anytime is 1, we want to switch it to yes. Okay, then if it's not 1, let it be changed to no. Okay, so anytime is 1, switch it to yes. If it's not 1, change it to no. It's already telling us that it's yes already because this is 1. So I'm going to click on enter. Awesome. So I can see that the change is already done. This is yes. So I'll just double click on this arrow and it does that for every single one of them here. So this 0 is going to be no. Yeah, so we can see it's working. Yeah, so we're going to do the same thing for married and for all the campaign purchases, right? Change the 0 to no and the 1 to yes. So I'm going to pause this video so I can make it quick. Okay, so now we can see that I'm able to do for married, right? So I'm just going to drop the single. I'm going to drop the single column. Awesome. So I'm going to delete it because definitely we don't need it anymore. Then married, change to no and yes. Then if we look at the campaign columns, I've been able to add a new column, change the 0 to no and the 1 to yes. So we can see 1 yes here. Then I did that up to the 5th campaign. Then also for complaints, so 0 for no, 1 for yes, right? This complaint simply means, are they complaining about the app or the service, right? We need to know. So now our data has been cleaned to that extent. The next thing we want to do is we can see number of days since last purchase, right? We want to convert this particular one to weeks, just like I said, to 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 1 month, or whatever it is, right? So that is what we're going to be doing. We'll just call this weeks or week since last purchase. Okay, so this should be, we want to use if statement here. Then if this particular one is less than 8 days, we want it to be 1 week, right? Then if the days since last purchase is less than 15, we want it to be 2 weeks. Then if the days since the last purchase is less than 22, that means we're looking at 3 weeks is 21 days. We want it to be 3 weeks. Okay. Then if the days since last purchase is less than 32, we want it to be 1 month. Okay. Okay, maybe I'll just put a goal here, because that's what we're going to be doing with SQL2. Then we can say 1 month ago. Then if it doesn't fall into any of those categories, we can just say over a month. Right, so I'm going to put okay, so I'm going to okay, I'm going to close this. Then there should be 8. So now we can see 58 days basically is over a month, right? 38 should be over a month too. 26 should be 1 month. So I will just double click on this. Okay, so now we can see that this has taken effect. So now we've changed the number of days since last purchase to weeks since last purchase, right? So now our data is ready for visualization. We can easily visualize our data using this cleaned data set. So for those of us that are comfortable using Google Sheets, right, you can just easily download this data or connect this particular data to Tableau or Power BI, and then go ahead with your visualization. Okay, but the next thing I also want to show you guys is how to clean your data using what do you call it, SQL. All right, so we are going to go into data cleaning with SQL. All right, and how are we going to be doing that? We're going to be doing that using for this particular project, I'm going to be using DBLite browser for SQL. Okay, you can use whichever tool you find comfortable, MySQL or SQL Server or whatever it is, PostgreSQL. But because of this data is not really much, I'm going to be using DBLite browser for SQL, and I'm actually comfortable using it. All right, so we're going to be doing the same cleaning process we did using Google Sheets on SQL. All right, so whatever SQL DBMS you're using is cool. You just have to know how to create your database and import that particular data, right? So the uncleaned data set is what you're going to import into your DBMS. Okay, so I'm going to create a new database, and I'm going to call this, what should I call it? Let me see. Okay. Let's say I want to call it Palsy Food App. Okay. Hope that makes sense though. Then next thing I want to do is I want to import my table. So I'm just bringing the uncleaned data as a CSV file. All right. So I'm sure you all have access to it. Then, yep. So I'm bringing in the data as a CSV file. So if you're using DB browser for SQLite, the column names in first line should be checked. Field separator should be comma. Quote character should be quotes. Encoding should be UTF-8. And trim fields, you don't need to trim the fields, okay? Just click on OK. Then, as you can see here, everything has been imported. So I'll just go to browse data to check if my data is actually the way I expect it to be. So as we can see, it's uncleaned. Graduates 1, everything is still uncleaned. So now we're going to be going into cleaning proper. All right, so I've written these queries before. Okay, I've written the queries before. So yeah, so I've written my queries before, right? So the only thing I will just do is basically the only thing I'm going to do now is just to go ahead to copy the queries, but I'm going to be explaining every single thing. Okay, so before we go forward, for those of you that have been asking when I'm going to be launching my training for the next cohort, so you have a chance to be part of the next cohort starting on the 24th of July. Okay, the price for those of us outside Nigeria, the price is just simply $100. Okay, you're going to be using artificial intelligence for data analytics. Your CV optimization is going to be free. Your LinkedIn optimization is going to be free. Your portfolio building is going to be free. All right. All this doing for just 80,000 naira or $100. Right. So you're going to be learning SQL, Power BI, SQL, Power BI, and spreadsheet for data analytics, and also how to use artificial intelligence to make your analyzing journey from start to finish very easy, right? And the most important thing is you're going to be getting understanding of these basic steps, the AI tools you should be using, so that when you get into your job, you're like the chief of staff there because you're the one that knows how to use AI. And we're partnering with AI Tech, right? And they are giving 35% discount to the next 10 people that are going to be registering with us, right? So if you're part of the next 10 people, it's ending on Thursday. Part of the next 10 people, you are going to be getting 35% discount, all right? So reach out to us and let's see how we can get you that job, right? Let's see how we can get you that job. We are here to make your job search journey or the distance between you and your job very, very short. All right, so that's not why we are here. Let's go back to our project. Okay, so what we want to do now is I want to check my data, right? Before I go into my cleaning, the first thing I want to do is I want to do a basic overview of the data set. So I've written my queries before, I'll just be doing copy and paste, right? And I'll explain. So basic overview of my data. This is what we are having, right? The same data you have is the same data I have. All right, I'm just going to wait for this to load. Awesome. So we can see this, okay, it's unclaimed. All right, so what we are going to be doing now is we're going to be going into data cleaning, right? And the first data cleaning we want to do is just like what we did in GoogleSheet. We are going to be creating income group, right? We're going to be creating income group, which is the low income, medium income, and high income group. So I'll just copy and paste that particular information, right? And yeah, so from what we can see here, I want to, the first thing I'm doing is to create a new column, just like what I did in Google Sheet. I inserted a new column to the right? But in SQL, I'm going to write a query to create a new column. All right. So I'm going to run this. So this is the query to create a new column. I'm sure we all know how to do that. Alter table food app from the table food app. And we are adding a new column called income group. And I want the data type to be variable character because, I mean, it could be anything. So I just want it to take in variable character, right? 255. I love using 255 just in case the limit is more than what I expect it to be. Okay, but you can put yours to be 50 or 10 or whatever it is. Then I'm going to run this. So this should create a new column for us called income group that contains null values. All right. So I'm going to scroll down to the end and we're going to be seeing that it contains null values. Okay, good. We can see income group here contains null values, right? So we're going to write a query that groups this income into low income. Okay, let's change this to just like what we have in let's say low earner, middle earner, right, and then high earner. So just like the Google Sheet, if statements, right? Basically, if statements in Google Sheet or Python is what case is in SQL, right? When you want to create buckets in SQL, use case function. All right. So this case function is what we're going to be doing. So when the monthly income is greater than 1,000, remember it's 1,000 to 41,000, 41,000 to 81,000, and 81,000 to 120,000, right? So when it's 1,000 or greater than 1,000 and is less than 41,000, which means from 40,999 and below, let it be low enough. If the person's income is between 41,000 and 81,000, which means 80,999 and below, let it be middle earner. But if the person's income is either 81,000 or above 81,000, let the person be high earner. If the person doesn't fall under any of these lists, let it be unknown. Definitely no one will be unknown because we already know the minimum salary and the maximum salary. Okay, so I'm going to end that with an end function saying this is the end of the case function. Then we're going to now use a filter clause. Remember, our income group contains null values. Okay, they are not empty, but it contains null values because we do not actually specify not null when we're creating the column. So where income group is null, which means it's going to replace all the null values with these bucket values. All right, so we're going to run this. So that means it has been done. I'll just write the select all from food app, and you are going to see that here. So we can see income group, middle earner, and all that, right? Low earner, and so on, down to the last. Okay, you can see that. Okay, so now we are done for income group. This is the same thing we did with Google Sheets, right? Created buckets for them using the if statement. But in SQL, we're going to be doing that using the case function, all right? So the next thing we want to do is we want to do the same thing for age groups. So I'll just copy and paste the query, right? First thing we're going to do is we're going to create the new column called age group. I'll run that, okay? Then the next thing we also want to do is do the same bucket list. So I'm just going to do this. Okay, so I've created a new column called age group. So I want to insert bucket values into this age group, right? And the minimum age we have is 24. The maximum age is 80. Okay, so where the age is greater than 21, greater than or equal to 21, and less than 40, which means we are dealing with ages, less than 41, we are dealing with ages from 40 and below. Anything from 40 and below should be adult. Anything from 61 and below should be middle-aged. Anything above 61 or equal to 61 should be elderly. Then if it's not part of it, let it be unknown. Definitely no one will be unknown because we already know the minimum and maximum values. All right, so this should be, so I'm going to run this and let it replace the null values in the age group. That means let these bucket values replace the null values in the age group. So I'm going to run this. Okay, it's telling me that it's done. So I'm going to see what I have here. Awesome. Now we have the age group perfectly done. Okay, the age group now is perfectly done. Okay, so this is what we want to do. The next thing we want to do is we want to also just the same things we did for using Google Sheet is what we're going to be doing, right? But just that the syntax is kind of a little bit different. Okay, so we're going to convert active days to years, okay? Active days to years. So this should be this. Then it's just the same thing divided by 365, right? So we're going to update the table, update food app, then set active days is equal to active days divided by 365, right? Then I'm going to run this. Okay, then I also want to update food app, then rename column active days to, I want to rename this to active since years. So I'm going to run this one too. Oh, okay. I guess this. Okay. So I think my query is actually wrong. Okay, so I'll just use alter table. So I want to change that active since day to active since years. So that is done. I'll run this. Let me see what I have. So I can see active since years here, right? That is done. Awesome. I'm actually doing well. So the next thing I want to do now is the next cleaning process, which is converting the days since last purchase to weeks. Okay, I want to convert the days since last purchase to weeks. Then the first thing I obviously have to do is to create a new column called weeks since last purchase. So I'll just copy and paste the query here. Okay. Then what I want to do now is definitely I'm going to run this because I want to create a new column. Okay, that's the idea, to create a new column. All right. Then so I'm going to run this. So after creating the new column, the next thing I want to do now is using the case function. Remember we did buckets, right, in Google Sheets. So we're going to do the same thing here, which means if the day is less than 8, let the day be 1 week ago. Let the week's last purchase be 1 week ago. If it's less than 15, let it be 2 weeks ago. If it's less than 22, let it be 3 weeks ago. If it's less than 32, let it be 4 weeks ago. If it's more than or equal to 32, let it be over a month ago, right? What this means is that if it's less than 15, if it's greater than 8 or less than 15, which means between the two, 2 weeks ago. If it's greater than 15, less than 22, that is between the two, 3 weeks ago. If it's greater than 22, less than 32, 4 weeks ago. But anything more than 32 should be over a month ago, because there are some months that are 28 days, 30 days, 31 days. So let us stop at 31 days. So anything more than 31 days, which is greater than or equal to 32 days, let it be over a month ago. Then replace all the null values in this week since last purchase with these bucket values. Right, so I'm going to run this. Then definitely that's done. So I want to see what I have here. Awesome. So I can see over a month ago and all that. So the first one is over a month ago. Let's look at days since last purchase. Okay. 58, which is definitely over a month ago, right? Just like what we have in Google Sheets. So the next thing we want to do now is we're going to drop our single column first. Remember I said the married column and single column, they are both communicating the same thing, which is too much relationships going on there. So we want to drop the single column, okay? So definitely we'll drop the single column, right? Then, so I'm going to run this so you can see we dropped the single column. Now, the single column is no longer there, right? The next thing we want to do now is, remember the 0 and 1s we had in our Google Sheets, right? In our table, these 0 and 1s you can see here. We want to change them to yes and no. But it won't make sense if we're writing the query one after. Remember, Google Sheet, we had to write the if statements one after the other. But using SQL, we can write the statement at once. It runs it at once and then changes all the 0 to no and 1 to yeses, okay? So that it's easy and very, very fast. So I'm going to paste the statement, right? This is the query. Update the food app table, right? Update food app, okay? Then set the married. When in married column, when it's 0, change it to no. When it's 1, change it to yes. Do the same thing for graduates. Do the same thing for purchased in first campaign. Do the same thing for purchased in second campaign, third campaign, down to the 5th campaign. Then customer complaint, I want you to change 0 to no, 1 to yes, right? So it's quick that way. You don't have to start writing one statement for the other one. So running that, and I view this, you'll find out that graduate, the 0 in graduate has changed to no, the 1 in graduates changed to yes. So we can see this, right? No is what we have here. Then we can say for purchase in first campaign or whatever campaign, then customer complaints has been changed to no and yeses. So that is good to go. We are heading closer to our query and analysis. So the next thing we want to do now is we want to do data exploration. Okay, we want to do data exploration. Okay, so basically, the first query for any data exploration is always a select all. I'm sure everybody knows how to write a select all statement. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is how many customers do we have in our data sets? Okay, how can we know the amount of customers? It's just by counting the rows, because obviously there are no unique rows, right? This is a unique entry. Each row contains a unique entry for a particular customer because of the age, the income, and so on and so forth, right? So we're going to just say select count all from the food app. We're counting the number of rows, which means we're going to put this as number of customers. Okay. I got carried away. So number of customers, I'm going to run this again. So we can see number of customers is 2,000 and 2,205. Then we want to find out the number of customers that are graduates and the number of customers that are not graduates. Okay, we want to know that from our analysis. So I'm going to use select graduates, which is the graduate column, right? Then count the number of entries we have in that graduate column. Then from the food app table, obviously. Now group this result by graduates, which means we have only 2 entries, it's yes or no. Then group the counts, like when you're done counting, group it by yes and no. That means tell us the number that is yes, the number that is no. Then order it in descending order by the count. So I'm just going to run this so you understand. Which means here we can see the number of graduates we have, 1,953. Then the number of non-graduates we have are just 250, which means we are dealing with educated customers, right? Educated customers actually know what they're doing with their money, right? So that is going to tell the business who they are dealing with. So they're not just dealing with just any customers, educated customers. Then we want to also know the section of our customers that are married and the ones that are not married. So the same query we wrote for the graduates, we just changed graduate to married, right? Then I'm going to select. So I'm going to run this query. Okay, so I'm going to run this query, right? So this is telling us that we have 1,422 married graduates, married people. Then 1,000, then 783 single people. Remember, I deleted the single column, right? So it's just going to change this. It's going to tell you no, the single people are 1,422. I mean, the single people are 1,783 rather. Then the people that are not single are 1,422. It just contains the same result, right? What if we want to find out the number of married people that are graduates, right? So we can just use select married, right? Count married. Okay, as number from food app, obviously. Then where graduates is equal to yes. So now we want to view the number of married people that are actually graduates. Okay, we'll run this. It's telling us, let's see. Okay, it's telling us that, wow, this is quite a lot. This is quite a lot. So it's telling us that 1,953 people, I guess my query is right, right? And select the number of married people where graduate is equal to yes, right? So let me see if this is actually correct. Okay, well, this is making sense. This is actually funny and interesting to look at, right? So this is not what I'm interested in. Let us go over to the next query. Then I also want to look at the number of people that are in each income group. Okay, number of people that are in each income group. So the same query as this, we're just going to change married to income group. Okay, then around this, you can see that the middle earners have more people in them, 1,266 people compared to low earners and then high earners. High earners are just 1,777. Okay, so which means that the company is dealing with people that earn between $41,000 and $80,000, right? So which is something that is interesting to look at. Then we also want to look at the amount of people that purchased in the last 1 week, last 2 weeks, and last 3 weeks. We want to see how the difference is between this. We want to see, okay, what is the last time people actually what are the number of people that purchased from our food app using our food app in the last 1 month, in the last 3 weeks, in the last 2 weeks? Okay, I'm going to run this. So from what we can see here, we can see that not many people have interacted with the app in the last 1 month, right? 1,474 people purchased from the app over a month ago. 1 week ago, just 183 people, right? Out of 2,205 customers, just 183 people 1 week ago. We can't say it's a good number, but when you're comparing it to over a month ago, it's something to look at. Even 4 weeks ago is never up to half of over a month ago. And over a month ago constitutes more than 60% of the entire stuff we have here. Okay, so that means it's something that the business needs to look at. Why are less customers interacting with the application day after day or week in, week out? Okay, so the next thing we want to look at is we want to find out how are our income groups spending? Where are their money going to? Since we can see that 4 weeks ago, just 4 weeks, 1 week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, these are the amount of people that interacted with it, with the app. So this amount of people, where is the money actually going to? Which income group do they belong to? So we're going to run this. We can see the high earners. Okay, awesome. High earners spent over $100,000 on wine, and they spent close to $100,000 on meat, which means they are doing the chop live now, right? Doing the chop live, maybe eating steak and drinking wine. But funny enough, if you look at middle earners, right? Now let's go back to this query. We run this. We have more middle earners in our food app. It makes sense that middle earners are spending more. This is over $500,000 on wine and more than $250,000 on meat. This $500,000 alone is more than everything that the high earners have spent combined together. But the middle earners have spent it alone on wine. We're not even talking about the low earners because, I mean, these guys their low earners are not really spending much. Okay. The wine alone for, the meat alone for high earners covers all what low earners have spent entirely, right? So this means that people that are middle earners are actually spending more on the food app. They spend buying a lot of wine. Maybe they are resellers. We never can tell. They are buying a lot of meat. They are probably resellers. We never can tell, right? That's something we need to look at. Then we want to now know, okay, for these middle earners, what income group? We know the income group that is spending more in our food app, right? But we need to know what age group is spending more. Is there a relationship between the income group and the age group? Let's find out. So we can see middle-aged are spending more on wines and more on meat. It's very funny to look at because adults are spending more on wines, more on meat. Okay, if you look at elderly spending more on wines, more on meat, this simply tells me that there's a relationship between the middle-aged and the middle earners, because if you're a middle earner earning between $41 and $80,000, right? Middle-aged are people between 41 and 61 years, right? 41 and 61 years. And these people are in the middle side, like they're in the middle peak of their career where they can't really go up top of the chart. Maybe they are looking towards, okay, these are people that they've worked probably 15 years, right? They are now likely to be middle earners. Like elderly, is very understandable that elderly could be part of the low earners because maybe they're going towards retirement. Nobody is looking to employ them. But the middle-aged, people between 41 and 61 years, or 41 and 60 years rather, these guys could constitute more fraction of the middle earners because they are in that middle, they are in between 40 and 60 years. I mean, they still have a career to look up to. They are still earning. So they could also constitute a very little fraction of the high earners, but I'm sure from this data, they constitute a very high fraction of the middle earners because middle-aged spend more on wines and on meats. Middle earners, from what we can see here, spend more. Middle earners spend more on wines and on meat also, which tells us that there's a relationship between the middle earners and the middle-aged. Okay, there's a relationship between the middle earners and the middle-aged. So we also want to look at, okay, let's look at under analysis just to make that make sense. Okay. Now, if we want to look at the age group that has gotten more discounts, okay. Well, now, this is why I'm so convinced that the middle-aged and the middle earners have a relationship. If you look at the people that have received more discounted deals, the age groups that receive more discounted deals. Let's see. Middle-aged. Now, I'm just going to do this in descending order. Order by discounted deals. So I'm going to run this again. Okay, so this should be DESC, descending order. So if I run this, you can see that middle-aged here, they have received more discounted deals. But what if we want to find out the income group that has received more discounted deals? I won't be surprised that it's middle earners, because they've spent more, and there seems to be a relationship between middle earners and middle-aged. Now, there we have it. Middle earners received 3,076 discounted deals. Middle-aged, look at it, received 3,076 discounted deals. Obviously, from what we can see here, it's telling us that there's a very big relationship between middle earners and middle-aged. All right, so that's something that's very, very interesting, something we might want to look at, and it will actually help us tell the company on how they should, if they're looking to perform a 6th campaign, who they should focus more of this campaign to draw money from them. Definitely is the middle earners and the middle-aged. Okay, they want to focus their campaign on these guys because it's obvious that the discounted deals is actually making them buy more. Okay, it's making them buy more. So they would want to focus more of these discounted deals on the middle earners and the middle-aged. All right, so that's one thing we can definitely look at. All right, so next thing we want to do now is we want to go into data visualization using Tableau, right? Data visualization using Tableau. And so I'm going to be heading, okay. So we're going to be doing our visualization using Tableau, right? And I'll just make few visuals and I will leave it to you to go ahead and do the rest. Okay, I'm sure that now that we've written our queries, you actually understand what's going on in the data set. Okay, so the next thing you can just do is you're left with two options. Either you export these queries you've written into a separate CSV files or into separate CSV files and load them separately into Tableau, or you can choose to import the entire data set into Tableau. For me, I'll prefer importing the entire data set into Tableau. Okay, it makes sense that way, right? So I'm going to do that now. So this is my cleaned data set. Okay, I'm just going to wait for it to load. Okay, so it's done loading. It's done loading. So now we have, so now I have my data set inside Tableau. Okay, the next thing I just want to do is open a new sheet. Okay, so I'm going to update that automatically. So we can see everything that we've cleaned are all good, set and good to go. Dragging this to the last, you can see all the other stuff we did. So if you want to do your visualization using Power BI is good. Anyone you choose to go with, but I want to try out Tableau. I've not done Tableau. I'm always talking about Power BI. So this is me trying out Tableau. And I think people have mentioned Tableau to me. People that reached out to me via mail or via the comment sections. They've mentioned Tableau to me quite a number of times. Quite a number of times. Okay, so okay. So I'm just going to wait for my data to load. Then I'm going to make few visuals, okay, using the data set. We're just going to look at the same things we're able to find out, right? The same thing we're able to find out. Just simply basic visualizations. We want to find out how much as the middle earners, how much have they spent on all the purchases they've made so far, or the income group, how much have they spent, and also the age groups, how much have they spent so far. Okay, so now that our data set is imported, we just want to do just maybe two visuals, just to keep it cool. So we want to find out the age group that is actually spending more, right? Because we did not do that with SQL. I just left that for this. Then we're going to create a calculated field. Okay, it's just going to tell us, let's see, total purchases. Remember, we have three different types of purchase. We have web, store, and catalog. Okay, so total purchases is going to be amount spent on. Okay, let me see. Okay, we want to find out the amount first. Let's see. Total amount spent. Let's change this to total amount spent. Okay, amount spent on wines plus, I want to say amount spent on fish plus amount spent on fruits plus amount spent on gold plus amount spent on meat plus amount spent on sweets. So this should be total amount spent. We'll apply this. Let me see. Okay. Say okay. Then we want to now find out total purchases, right? Total purchases. So but before that, I'm going to drag this here. Okay. I'm going to drag this here, and this should turn to a bar chart. Okay, so perfect. So I'm going to put this in descending order. So we can see that the middle age have spent more money. Then I'm going to put that in label so it shows at the top. Awesome. Then I'm going to put that also in color so it's in a gradient form. Okay, differentiates the each age group. Perfect. So I'm going to make this entire view big enough. Then I also want to do another calculated field, which is total purchases, right? So we want to say number of let's see. Okay, web purchase plus catalog purchase plus this should be store purchase. Then I'm going to apply this and I'm going to say okay. So we have total purchases. I'm going to put that as rows also. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to make this dual axis. Okay, let's see. I think, I don't know. Okay, I don't know why my system is being so slow. Okay, we can see, let me put this in this kind of format. Perfect. So I also want the labels. So I'm going to hide, let's see. I'm going to hide this 1. Perfect. So then let's see, total purchase. This should be sum, right? So I want the total purchase to also be a label. Okay. Okay, maybe I'll just remove the label so it doesn't mess up what I've done so far. Okay, so basically, I'm just trying to show how you can make your visuals in Tableau. So those of us that want to use Tableau can go ahead to use Tableau. Those of us that want to use Power BI can go ahead to use Power BI. So obviously, I'm going to remove this as a detail. So once I hover around this, I can see that the total amount spent by the middle-aged is over 692, over $600,000, and the total purchase, right, for middle age is 15,000, over 15,000. Y for elderly is over 8,000, and Y for the adults is just over 4,000. So I can still go ahead to maybe bring in sheet 2, and I want to look at the income group, how much they've spent, right? The income group. So maybe I'm going to use a pie chart for that. Let's see, I'm going to use pie chart for that. Okay, then for the income group, definitely we know it's middle earners, right? But we just want to visualize that. So total amount spent, I'm going to put that in sum. Definitely middle earners will be up there. Then I want to use a pie chart to visualize this. So I'm going to make this bigger. Okay, then I'm going to make this fill up the entire screen. Okay, this is going to be entirely. So now we have it bigger, right? Just to put our labels here, we can still see middle income earners spending over close to $1 million, right? Followed by high income, high income earners, then followed by low income earners. Very understandable. But we can see that why middle income earners are spending more money is because they are the ones that actually bought more when they were discounted deals. More discounted deals were given to them, right? So this is one way we can use to visualize our data, right? So if you have questions concerning the data set, right? Data set is going to be on the description of the video. If you have more questions regarding the data set, please comment on the video, share your insights, right? When you visualize the data, and please reach out to me if you need more clarification. And if you also want to be part of the data cohorts featuring artificial intelligence coming up on the 24th of July, please go ahead and drop a comment, and we're going to get right back to you. Drop a comment with your email address, or I'm going to be dropping my email address or my phone number, WhatsApp phone number, on the comment section or on the video description. You can reach out to me privately, and we are going to get back to you. But in the meantime, like I will always say, practice, 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 and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.